howdy, and welcome to the Bender Bunker, your one-stop shop for B-Bender related lessons and videos. And what you heard there were the B-Bender twangy haunting refrains of the honky-tonk classic by Marty Stewart, Going, Going, Gone. And it's hard to believe that after all this time here in the Bender Bunker, this is only the second dedicated Marty lesson we've ever thrown out there, and it's true. We have done one other, and it was the main solo part for the very tasteful Marty ballad, Wait for the Morning, and a direct link popping up there. If you haven't seen that yet, just come back later, grab that link after this is over. But what we don't have and what we definitely need is some all-out B-Bender twangy assault goodness from Marty, and that's what this lesson's going to do. It's going to take us through Going, Going, Gone, step by step, note by note, hot fretboard action up close like we always do. And in the midst of breaking down the solo, I'm going to show you a few things that are contained within it that I consider go-to Martyisms, something that I see Marty do on a regular basis when he's getting into his twangy B-Bender solos that you may be able to take with you and help you break down other Marty solos on your own. And that's at no extra charge, so there you go. Well, if that sounds good to you, you know what to do. You go grab the black cowboy suit of your choice. Yep, the one with the fringe, that's the one. Get the matching neckerchief and then get ready, because Going, Going, Gone is about to appear right here on the Bender Bunker. Well, all right, let's get this Marty party going. Going, Gone solo lesson started. And by the way, you look great in a neckerchief. Brings out your eyes, very nice. Quick syllabus for this lesson, if you will. I'm going to break the solo into 3 sections. And then there'll be a bonus section at the end of what I said before, like Martyisms, go-to moves I see Marty do that we can take from the solo that may help you break down future Marty solos on your own, if that sounds good. Another thing to note is that the song's in the dominant key of A, goes to D, back to A, takes a brief sojourn to E, ends up back in A. And that's important to note because a lot of these B-Bender lead patterns we're going to work on are indeed following the chord changes of the song. And since it is kicking off in A, you're going to see Marty's hand, and by say C, I'm actually working off of a version of this live version of the song and a clip. And I'll put that clip, I'll pin it in the top comment below so you can see what I work off of. But you're going to see his hands up here around the 12th fret, which I call the high octave Bender box for A. And he's working an offshoot of that high octave Bender box. And let's kick this off by having your index finger go to the B string 15th and your ring finger up on the high E 17th for those 2 notes. Now when you get those 2 notes in place, I'm going to need you to pick them together. Don't care if you up pick, down pick, whatever works for you, but pick them in isolation and take the bender up rather abruptly. Just like that. Now keep the bender engaged and notice how your middle finger is perfectly positioned above the high E 16th, which is what you need. So you pick that once and then go back to the 17th with your ring finger. Easy enough. Now notice the bender is still fully engaged, which is what we want. Now we need to sneak our index finger down to the top 2 on the 12th and let our ring finger go over to the G string 14th. We are indeed creating the first 3 notes of that A bender box on the high octave. And once we get those fingers in place, we're going to go ahead and start on the high E 12th, pick it once, pick the B string once to let it down, and end up on that G string 14th because we've already got our fingers in place for that. Just like that. 1, 2. Okay, all together. Okay, the bender's down now, that's good. Now leave your index finger where you have it, covering the top 2 on the 12th. We're going to pick that 12th fret B string once and take the bender all the way up with it. Just like that. When we get there, leave the bender engaged, hop up to the high E 15th with your little finger, pick it once. And then once that's done, let it up and then pick the high E 12th. In fact, we're just going to retrace what we did before. High E 12th, B string 12th to let the bender down and end up on the G string 14th with your ring finger again. So that sequence. All right, all together. And the bender's down. Now that is your first A section. The song now goes to D. So you're going to see Marty's hand drift down to the traditional B bender box area, which is usually top 2 5th and next 2 7th. And again, he's doing an offshoot of that bender box up here. And this is what we're going to work on next. We call this the D section. Okay, and to do that, we are going to be on our B string with our index finger, and we're going to pick and slide up to the target of the 8th fret. And so that's 1 pick, a slide into the 8th, and we take the bender all the way up at the same time. Sounds complicated, but we've done it many, many times on previous lessons. Just like that. bender's fully engaged. Keep it that way. Hop up to the high E with your little finger on the 10th fret. Grab that note once. And then like we did up here on the 12th before, we're going to let our index finger wander down and cover the top 2 on the 5th, and then our ring finger go over to the G string on the 7th, because we are now doing what we did before. We're just doing it for a different key. We're covering the top 3 notes of the D bender box. And like before, it's the exact same situation. We start with the high E on the 5th, pick it once, pick the B string to let it down, and end up on that G string 7th note. That's your D section. All right, for context, all together. Song goes back to A. So does Marty go back up here and start working where he was before around the 12th? No, Marty's going for the downtown lower octave A bender box. And so if we learned that the top bender box for A is the 12th, that would make the lower the open string, which indeed is exactly what he does when he gets down there. He's going to pick the B string, and this is the lower A part we're going to learn now. And to do that, we start by picking the open B string in isolation and taking the bender all the way up. And I'm picking, at this point, I'm picking way behind my bridge pickup because we're trying to get maximum twang. Now take the bender up, keep it all the way there, and then grab the high E 5th with any finger you want. Pick it once. After you pick it, take that finger off the high E and dead note it once. So we're B string up, high E 5, dead note, and then go back to the B string open to let the bender down. And then end up on an A note, which is your G string, your 3rd string, 2nd fret. All together. And so that's the lower octave A. So if we put it all together, we're going to go A, D, A. Part 1. I'm going to grab a beverage. Part 2 up next. All right, let's keep the Marty train rolling here with Going, Going, Gone. We were down here in the lower A octave area. We started A, D, A. The song is staying in A, so Marty would like to get back up to where he started, which is that upper octave A. So to do that, he does this 6 notes pattern with a half bend in the middle of it. And then he ends up right there where he started, up around the 12th fret for the upper octave A bender box. So let's learn that pattern to get us back up to where we started. That is going to start on your G string. I'm going to take an index finger, we're going to pick and slide to the 9th fret, and then when we get there, we're going to pick it again. It's 2 total picks. Pick, slide, pick when we get there. All right, and the next thing we do is just 1 string up your B string on the 10th. We hit that note once with our middle finger. Sounds like taps. Okay, so we've done that. Next thing we do, that allows our ring finger to sneak over to the G string, because now we're going to pick and slide that up to where it was before when we were up here, which is the 14th fret. Right, there it is. I've got my ring finger on the 14th fret of the G string. What also happens, and I always like it when this happens, it's ergonomically friendly in my opinion, is it allows your index finger to fall naturally on the top 2 of the 12th, which is what it did when we were up here before, creating the top 3 notes of that A bender box, pretty much organically. All right, so there's that part. When we get to there on the G string 14th, we're going to go ahead and let our index finger cover the top 2 of the 12th, because the next note is going to be the B string on the 12th. But this is where we have to do that half bend. So as you're taking your ring finger and sliding it up to the G string 14th, that's a mental cue to do a half pre-bend on your bender. Don't activate it all the way, just kind of get it halfway. And that way, when your index finger covers the top 2 on the 12th, you can hit that B note and let it down. And then go right back to the G string 14th that you never moved with your ring finger. So again, that sequence. And again, I think that's 6 notes with the half bend on the 5th note. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's right. Okay, so now we've got the upper A bender box for A up here covered. We've still got our index finger on the top 2 of the 12th. That's what we need. we're gonna go ahead and blast those two notes in isolation with the bender. Pick them together, take the bender all the way up, and then let the bender down. Watch what the bender does. It goes all the way and comes right back down. You don't really hear too much of the bender coming down. It's more about the bender going up audio-wise. And I'm up picking those, by the way, because I find it more accurate. And I need that bender to come back down because the next thing I'm going to do is another blast, and I need to blast it again with the bender. And so I'm popping up now to the 17th, top two on the 17th with my little finger. I'm going to blast those. Now when I blast those with the bender, pick them together and take the bender up, I'm going to leave the bender up. So here we go. Blast top two on the 12th. Bender's down. Go up with my little finger, top two 17th. Blast it and keep the bender engaged. And then I'm going to pop right back with my index finger, top two on the 12th. And I'm going to start on the B string. I'm kind of picking them together, but I'm up picking so I get the high E first and let the bender down. And then end exactly as you think you would with the 14th fret of the G string in your ring finger again. So that sequence again. All right, all together. Bender's down now. All right, now that's how he gets back up to the upper A section. This is normally where I break, but I'm feeling lucky, so let's go ahead and go on to the E section. And so the song is now taking that brief turn down to E. So he needs to get down here to the E bender box, which is usually top two on the 7th and next two on the 9th. And the way he's doing that is this riff right here. Now I'm going to be honest with you here, full disclosure, this section I'm going a little bit off script from what he's doing. I mean, up until now I've probably been about 95% accurate with what he's picking and bending. This one I'm taking a little bit of liberty. I think what he's doing is he only's got one bend in his E sequence. I think I've got 3 bends in mine because after all we are the bender bunker. I think he's going, and I'm going, because I really like that last bend. Kind of end up in the same area. So let's learn it that way. So to get to the E section, we're going to start down here on the high E with our little finger and pick that. That also allows our index finger to cover the top two on the 7th, because again, we're covering the top of the E bender box. That's what we're doing. So we're starting high E 10th with our little. Index finger covers the top two on the 7th. And like before, we're going to need the bender pre-engaged. So as you hit that high E on the 10th with your little finger, that's also a good idea to get it pre-engaged. That's a mental cue to get it pre-engaged. Index finger covers the top two on the 7th, and like you've done many times on this lesson, you start on the high E7, go to the B, let it down, and then you end up there on the G string 9th. Bender's down now. We've got the E bender box shape, top 3 notes, which of course is top 2 on the 7th, and the G string with our ring finger on the 9th. So now when we come down, we're just going to retrace our steps. Bender came down, we're going to hit the B string, take the bender up, and then keep the bender engaged. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my ring finger off the G string, move it up 1 fret to the B string 10th, hit that note, and let the bender down. And that completes the E sequence. That is the E sequence. Basically, we need to finish with the final A sequence. Now, there's something we got to talk about with that very last note with our ring finger on the B string on the 10th. There's a reason I chose that ring finger, because it allows what we need to do next to happen very easily. And again, I'm very excited when I get what we call ergonomic bending, where it just comes naturally. As that last note comes down on the B string 10th, it allows you to create a D chord shape silently behind it, which is exactly what we need. So what that means is I've got my middle finger on the high E 9th and my index finger on the G string 9th, and I'm creating an actual D chord shape, leaving that ring finger on the 10th where I finish that final E note. Notice as I hit that last note, I made the D chord silently behind it. Now, why are we making that D chord? Well, the song is going to finish back in the dominant key of A, and when you make a D chord right there, it is A. That's just another way of playing A, and that's one of the ways that Marty really likes to play A, okay? So that's how he's getting to the final A section off that E. And the D chord. Now when he brings the bender down, he's got the D chord in place. He plays a little bit differently every time. I do as well. But basically, you're working off this D chord shape. I never stop making this D chord shape. The only variances you're about to hear for this A section is my little finger coming on and off the high E on the 10th and the bender. So this is where I usually say you can salt and pepper to taste. So we'll do it out of the E section for context. But again, what I was doing there, once I got that D position in shape for the A, I never moved it. I just used my little finger in the bender for all those variances. And that brings us to a close. We got the final E section and came back to finish in the dominant key of A. All right, for context, let's do it all together. That's it. You have all the parts you need to be dangerous and learn the entire going, gone Marty Stewart solo to your heart's delight. Put your own flavor in it, take the parts you like, use it in your own solos. That's what I do, don't tell anyone. And that's all I have for that solo. Now, if you're interested in sticking around, I am going to take a few parts from what we just learned and show you what I consider Martyisms, go-to moves he does in his twangy B-bender solos that you may find useful for your playing and if you're trying to take other Marty Stewart clips and break them down. So if that sounds good, stand by for that. If not, hey, thanks for stopping by. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time. Give me a thumbs up, all that good stuff. But I think you might want to stick by because the next part's going to be fun too. Well, it's great to see a few of you still stuck it out to the very end. I think like 3 of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I can thank everyone in person. This is the Martyism, the go-to Marty moves that I think some of you might be interested in if you're really chasing that Marty Stewart style. I think this can be a great help to you in the future. And we're going to base what I'm going to show you off of what you already learned in the lesson to make it go a little bit faster, a little bit easier. So let's get started. There's 3 primary Martyisms I'm going to cover here. If you remember, the second thing we learned in the lesson was we went down to the D section, which was... And as I explained in the lesson, he's getting down to the primary D bender box, which is top 2 strings on the 5th, next 2 on the 7th. So let's work out of that because it's camera friendly. What I'm going to show you is, and he does this in the lesson, so there's more than a couple of ways to cover it, is when you're in your primary bender box for whatever key you're in. For this example, we're in D, so our top 2's on the 5th. I'm going to go up 5 from there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the top 2 there on the 10th fret, and that's the top 2 notes for your G bender box. And so if you were playing in D and you went to G, I guess I would make it your 4 chord. So we could kind of call that the 4 chord move, but really 5 up is very user friendly when you're playing in that bender box, whatever key you're in. If you top 2 of your bender box there and you go up 5, it works very nicely. I'll show you an example. Again, I'm working out of the key of D in the bender box, but I'm going to use that to my advantage. So I started with the top 2 on the 5th for D, went up to the 10th, which is 5 up from that, right? And then came back. Or I could start with it and then go into D. And that's something you're going to see Marty do all the time. Now, he did it up here when we got to that final A octave section. He blasted the 12th and the 17th, 5 up, right? He's blasting A, D, A. He's using that to his advantage. Now, the way we started the lesson, those 2 off notes, 2 frets apart, that's kind of a variance of that, and it's an important variance for us to cover. So we're right here, 5 up from that D, right? We're going to take our B string down 2, as we did many times. In fact, that's how we did that D section. They were 2 off of each other, so it's more a little dissonant sound, and we use that all the time. I'm going to try and use the primary one together, and then I'll go into the dissonant one, all staying here in D for the example. So what I did that time is I went back to D, and then I came back to the dissonant one with the B string 2 down, came up and barred it right there, and then went D shape. Another thing is he'll start with that, and I'll do that as well, that dissonant version of it. So look for that when you're watching Marty. The next thing we're going to cover on Marty is, remember when we got down and did the low A, and he wanted to get back up, we got back up with this 6-note sequence. Okay, well right there, he's basing off of what the very last chord was we learned, which is that D shape 4A, the primary key of that lesson. And so what he's doing there is, that's what we learned. Now in the course of learning that, I kept asking myself, okay, I get what you're doing, but note-wise, this is the exact same note. And that's just making the traditional high octave A bender box, top 2 12th, next 2 14th. And as I mentioned a lot during the lesson, I'm kind of an ergonomic player. I try to be. So why is Marty doing it, in my opinion, a more difficult way with more room for error? Starts down here and works his way up to it when you could just go straight to the bender box. It's subtle, but it's important, and it's part of what makes Marty a great player. Is you can start, if you go just straight to the bender box, you can get that first slide. What you can't get is the second slide very easily, if at all. And so at least I can't. Listen to how he's getting a second and slinkier. Old-time viewers will remember you say this all the time, slide into it, get that slinky pedal steel sound. That's what he's doing, in my opinion. So he comes up, the first slide you can do. Now remember, the ring finger goes over the G string. He's sliding up to that 14th. It's almost impossible to do if you go straight. You can get the first slide, you can't get that second slide like he's doing on the G string. So you're missing a primary key slide to that whole sound to give it that slinkier sound. And that's one of the main reasons I think he's using that shape here. Now keep in mind, this is our A bender box up here, and this is A here. So they work very nicely together. In fact, just consider that D chord shape slightly below your bender box just as an extension of the bender box. And that's one that Marty likes to use all the time. And also, you know, he's been influenced, he freely admits being influenced by the pedal steel, as we all have, of Ralph Mooney. And that D chord shape is very Mooney-ish in my opinion. You can get that much easier than trying to work out of a bender box. So I was just doing little Mooney type licks here in that D chord shape for A, and then I went up to an actual D chord, an octave up here for the second part. And him being influenced by Mooney, I think that's probably another big reason he does it. And then finally, let's stay on that D chord for our final Martyism, and you're going to see him do this all the time, especially when he's singing and doing rhythm parts and also throwing in some little smaller bender sections, working off of the D chord shape. Now we learned that right here at the end of that lesson it was for A. Well, watch him. Now, there's a couple of reasons I think that Marty chooses to stay in this D chord when he's just playing major chords, even when he's playing rhythm. And that's two reasons, because he's got a couple things we don't. One, he's got world-class talent. And two, he's got a world-class rhythm player behind him in cousin Kenny Vaughn. And so when you're trying to fill the audio space in a band situation, two great players are going to naturally not want to step on each other's audio frequencies. So in the lesson we just did, it's in A, you're going to see cousin Kenny kind of stay down here. And then a lot of times Marty will go up and do the higher octave A so they can fill that audio frequencies, and that's just what two great players will do naturally when they play together. So I think a lot of the reasons you're going to see him use that D chord shape to his advantage when he's doing B bending is, one, it fills the audio space nicely with his rhythm guitar player, but two, it's how he likes to get into whatever key he's in, bender box that exists right above him. Alright, so there's some Martyisms. And what I would suggest you do now is go watch Marty B-Bender clips. I got a ton of them in my playlist on our channel called Favorite B-Bender Clips. They're loaded with Marty Bender clips for you there. Go watch them. Figure out what key it's in. Find your major bender box for that key that you just figured out the song was in. And start watching for him when he gets into his lead sections. Is he going the 5 up, the dissonant version of it? Is he using the D chord shape of it? And watch how he slides into stuff, because that's really kind of big pieces of what makes Marty Marty, and I think it's going to help you on your journey if you are in fact trying to bend it like Marty. All right, now this is the official end of the lesson, so I do appreciate you sticking with me this far. That is hardcore of you, and I do appreciate it. If you enjoyed this lesson, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Share it with other bender players or just Twang players or Marty fans that might enjoy it while you're thinking about it. First time to the Bender bunker because you were driven in by the Marty title. Hey, welcome to the bunker. We've been here for a while and it's all about the Benders. So I think you might have a good time. Good time to think about subscribing while you're thinking about it. That way you can keep track of what we do. If you'd like to support the channel without touching your wallet, as I mentioned before, you can just do a thumbs up. That's a great way with the YouTube algorithm. That's what I read recently on a bathroom wall. And then finally, you are going to see now, recent addition, the Instagram page, the link down there below as well. And that's just all kinds of fun stuff. I can only do these once or twice a month on the YouTube channel, but I'm putting up stuff several times a week, including other Bender clips. They're only 1 minute, but they could be fun for you if you're into B-Bender guitar or other Twang guitar. I'm always trying to keep the Instagram account active while we work on other lessons here. That's all I got. If you're new to it, then this is going to be new for you, but we always end, and we have since the beginning of December 2017, with the final motto of the Bender bunker: it is never too late to go on the Bender, especially if you're trying to get Marty Stewart involved. And I do appreciate you watching. Until next time, do me a favor, keep it bent.